Does that ever happen to you? Do you randomly just drool sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
And then you're kind of
way
like,
too
how
many
the fuck
times.
did I just drool? Where did that come from?
I do it all the time, and I'm always like, sorry, I usually swallow. It like never comes out this much. No, I drool.
It's just like randomly, I was like, guess I was just thinking too intently or something, and then just start fucking drooling.
Well, because then if you're thinking, like, I can imagine like your mouth, like, just opens up because you're somewhere else, so
Yeah.
your jaw relaxes, and then
It fills up. It fills up.
Yeah. Oh, I do it. Oh, I feel bad for the people in my classes. Like, I'll drool or I'll spit on them. I'm like, you're doing such a.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can
Sorry.
see sometimes when I'm on stage in the lighting and I'm talking into the mic, I can see the spit and I'm like, whatever. I'm talking passionately. Fuck
yeah,
it.
Right. You're like, I'm a person of color. I have like fire and
I
picante.
should be spitting on you.
Yeah, you're gonna like it. You're gonna take it. No.
Also, if
totally
I
get
ever lay on someone's chest, I always find a little drool
Always. I
like
feel so
puddle.
bad. No,
and then
that's
I
something I
hope
do.
they're passed out and then I just wipe it with my hand.
Oh yeah, no, my
But-
husband's always like, okay, I can't tell if you're sweating or drooling. It's
Like
usually
it's
both.
sweat because
Yeah.
my metabolism is so high.
God, yeah.
Which means I'm going to be so hot at old
Actually,
age.
no, I have a crazy fast metabolism, which
All right, so we're going to
means-
start off bragging, Pablo.
No,
This is how we're going to start.
Which means he gets so mad when we're falling asleep because I radiate so much heat. He's like, I'm so fucking uncomfortable.
I would
And
love
I'm
that.
Freezing. I'm freezing in the bed. I'm like, because all my heat's leaving.
You're like a pregnancy pillow, just warm and just like.
Yeah, no, for real. I'm like a fire in the room, I guess. He's like always complaining.
Yes, you
He's like,
are.
yeah.
Okay, so I have to start off with my icebreaker question.
Okay.
So I have a new icebreaker question for you because of your background, which is why I brought you here today. So Pablo, our guest, you are a athletic performance coach and you are trained in boxing and Pilates. And I found you social media. That's how we became friends.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just really appreciate always trying to be healthier. And so that's what I appreciate about you and your knowledge of the body. So my icebreaker question for you is if you could be a body part,
Okay.
any body part, but not like eyes or something.
No,
like
no,
I want like not that eyes aren't functional, but you know what I mean.
I
Like,
know what you mean.
Yeah. So if you could be any body part, muscle, if it was anthropomorphized, like humanistically, like, oh yeah, that's
Okay.
something a hamstring would do.
Yeah.
Like, what would you be?
Okay. The psoas, which is this tiny little muscle. It's actually one of the main hip flexors that helps you in holding yourself up, getting your knees to come up, your legs to come up, and just having nice posture. And it's this little tiny muscle that wraps around really weird around like your joint, your hip joint.
Where? Show me. I want to see.
So it's like right here.
oh, is it
right.
this like by
It's
your
like-
pelvic bone?
Yes. It's
Okay.
that muscle. So it is, a lot of people argue that it is the most underrated muscle because it's the most important muscle that no one really talks about.
Okay.
And it is the muscle because it's so close to your groin, to
Yeah.
your privates. It's like
Yeah.
tied to sexual emotions.
Okay.
But also it carries your trauma, which I carry way too much trauma. So I'm like, it's me. And it's an important muscle. And plus, it's right by the butt, and I'm a butt man.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
was
help
thinking
it.
because I was like, I would go for the butt quick. I'd be like a butt,
Yeah.
but butt's the best. And I was like, well, butt does poop, and like, well, that's great. But it's like, do I always want to just like have poop? And so
Yeah, I mean,
if I'm a living butt, I just always just have shit. So.
Exactly. You don't want to be known for the shit
So
that
is a
comes out of you.
psoas.
So the psoas, PSOAS.
Okay.
It's a good one.
And so is this something that when you get a massage, is this a muscle where you're like,
It's actually so hard. Most massage therapists won't even go for it. And you need someone trained to release it. And when they release it, that's the one usually people say they have the big emotional energy, the big burst of tears.
are you talking about sex work right now?
Right? It sounds like it. But no, okay. And you just kind of said all this stuff about me. And then I realized, oh, shit. Like, yeah, I totally forgot. I also... Before all this like athletic stuff, I was like a therapist drawing the
Yeah.
emotions out of people. And now as like, in a weird way, like a body worker, someone who like works with athletes, someone who works with people trying to get fit. I love the psoas because why? just tying it both in. Just come on, marrying,
I
psychology
didn't even know
and fitness.
this was a muscle, the psoas.
Yep.
So if you rub the psoas, since it is so connected to a sexual space, is it an erotic space that like...
No.
I mean, I guess.
So
I mean, I don't know.
It's really painful because it is so underneath everything. They have to like
you get like right here, the shoulder thing when people
go
try to get
in and even deeper. It's like one of the deepest layers of muscle.
So you're one of the deepest layers.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything.
Really got to get to, yeah.
I don't want to brag.
Okay, I like that. The
deep
psoas.
like love, girl. Deep like love.
What would your partner? What muscle or body part would you say your partner would be?
I mean, he's so okay. Honestly,
if you're the psoas,
honestly, with he's the brain. Like he is so intelligent. He's such a nerd, and he's such an intellectual. I mean, he has his PhD, and what an intelligent man. Like it's actually kind of intimidating. And so, yeah, he's I would say he's the brain, and like I'm the one that's like all over the place in the household. And he's the one who kind of centers a lot of it, kind of reels it in, brings it in.
The nucleus.
Exactly. And so as the brain, he just has this way of making sure that I do what I need to do.
Awesome.
Right? Just sending those electrical signals.
That's what I want to be. I want to be the brains of something.
Just
let a dude know what he needs to do, right?
Yes.
I like that. Good for your partner. He knows
know,
what the fuck's
right?
up.
Yeah, he's going to... Right now, we're probably listening to this, like, in the future, and he's like, what the fuck?
You're going to look at him, you're like, anything.
Yep, and I was like, now you owe me. I put it on a podcast. You owe me.
I want to talk about the space that I initially was introduced to you through was the gym you work at. And so... You're a boxing coach.
And yeah, I mean, I do both. Like I box and I, well, okay. Let's start at like the beginning and how it all kind of came to be, right? Like I've always felt that taking care of your body is really important. Mm-hmm. It really is. Like movement is medicine. And that's something that I really learned a lot that was like hammered into us in like my psych studies in undergrad and grad school. And also when I started to practice therapy, right? My clinical supervisor would always talk about like, you really need to make sure these people get out and do stuff. And I loved working out because a little bit about me, like I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. I had a lot of issues. And I really, with all the education that I got, decided one of the best ways to kind of get in front of it was just to start exercising and just to see what happens, right? Yeah. Initially I was like, I'm going to start exercising. I'm going to like fix my brain and then I'm going to do porn because I'm gonna look good. And then that I just like was like, nope, not for me.
I love that achieving that through mental health. Yes.
Yeah, of course. And then like I realized like, okay, I would rather be in school. Like I'm a little too shy for porn, so I was like, all right.
Like how it goes from porn to school.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. And so fast forward, graduated grad school, was working, moved to San Francisco and was like, this is my time to like redo everything.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to work at a gym. And I worked at this tiny little gym and I just started studying and asking all of the trainers there about training. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be really good at what I did. So I made sure to get the best training, to ask the people that I thought were doing something really important, like looking at strength trainings through a scientific lens.
Yeah. One
of the things that's really been hurtful is how sedentary people have kind of allowed themselves to be.
And what does that word mean?
Yeah. Immobile, not moving.
Okay.
And so for me, the best thing, and this is what I tell everybody, at least go out for a walk. Just 15, 30 minutes. Just take a walk. Want to take a run, whatever. Mm-hmm. Walk. If you are someone who works out a lot, walk. Just walk somewhere. If you are someone that does not work out a lot, walk. It's just going to be really helpful.
Yeah, motion is the lotion.
Emotion is the lotion.
That's what
right?
someone told me that. And so if you're having pain somewhere and you feel like it's limiting movement, maybe don't just not move it anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe do things to like push forward a little movement, some motion, and that will lotion
that space.
Exactly.
Exactly.
With boxing specifically, how do you feel like what do you feel like it really targets with your body, with your strength? Like if you
So-
had to give an overall.
Oh,
Because I know Pilates, each thing does such amazing things.
Yeah.
Like each different type of
well,
workout.
boxing, what I love about it is it's such a release, right?
Yeah.
Such a cathartic release of like rage and anger.
Yes.
And then it's a skill. In teaching boxing classes, a lot of people come in for the cardio, and some people come in because they want to learn the skill and get some strength. But for me, and how I really promote it is like this is a sport. A sport takes a lot of dedication. If you want to be good at this, you have to train properly. You also have to learn how to coordinate yourself. You have to learn some coordination, and you have to build your endurance. You also have to build some explosive strength. Recently, my boxing coach told me that I have such a hard punch that he has a hard time like practicing and doing mitts with me because I've been giving him carpal tunnel.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry.
You're like, sorry about your carpal tunnel.
Yeah, I was like, what? Welcome to the stage, carpal tunnel. It was weird, especially because as a gay man, I always heard those messages that, gay men, queer men, all this stuff, they're so weak, they're sissies, they're Nellies. And I knew that meant something bad. And now that I'm an adult, I'm like, fuck it. I'm a Nelly. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm queer. Fuck yeah. I call myself a faggot. You can't.
Yeah.
No, you can't. You can't. But my allies, my friends, yeah, let's take the word back. I am a queer man who loves his femininity, who loves the gray area that I try to live in when it comes to gender and sexuality. That it feels nice to be like, I'm not settling for all this other bullshit, this like toxic masculinity bullshit. I can do it on my own terms because literally everyone can do it on their own terms.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
You originally you said you're a gay man, and then you said you're a queer man, and I think this is a good chance for us to talk about the word queer.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people associate queer with just when talking about sexuality.
Yeah.
Which, you are talking about sexuality, but let's maybe unpack the word a little more, and so we could all understand queer in a deeper way. So, in my head, sometimes when people like a gay man uses the word queer to define himself, sometimes they think it's to move away from the word gay in a homonormative sense. Like sometimes through media and sometimes whatever, gay is just thought to be white, upper class, fit. But there's different people that live different walks of life. So
Yes.
do you feel like using queer instead of gay is a unconventional way of talking about your path?
Well, I mean, I've always defined, to me, like, how do I put this? There are some men that I've met that are homosexuals, and I'm like, well, you're gay. Like, you fit in a very homonormative, I love that term that you use, homonormative life, where there's a belief in gender being binary. I don't believe in that. There's a belief that, a man is a man. And if you're
Still
gay,
a CEO at a company, maybe
it's stuff like that, right? And that, as a gay man, you live, the only thing that sets you apart is the fact that you're homosexual, but everything else, you're still in the mainstream, or you're still okay,
Totally.
regardless of like race or gender. It's usually, socioeconomic status
like
as well.
Will
like
from
a
Will
big,
and Grace.
perfect example,
Yeah.
and so some other guys I knew in the fitness world where I was like, okay, you kind of keep this like hypermasculine body, you date other men that are hypermasculine, you don't like to be confused as being feminine, you're on your Grindr profile you love hiking, and you're just a regular guy. No, I'm like, I don't believe in that, and the people that I surround myself with aren't typically like that, right? I believe in all forms of gender expression, and all of it is valid, and all forms of sexuality. And I believe that a lot of our ways of existing also have a bit of a political backing to it, I guess. And so I would rather choose the thing that is going to be more in your face and a little bit louder than the thing that's going to blend me in, right? And it's not because I want to stand out. It's because I need this conversation to happen.
Yeah.
I want you to stop trying to pigeonhole me and let me do whatever I want with myself.
Yes.
I will give you the space to do it for yourself. So
Totally.
as someone who identifies as queer, I want to I don't want to live in black and white or even in primary colors. I want to live in like a spectrum of everything.
Yes.
A
spectrum galaxy.
Of color. Exactly. I want to live in the color spectrum that we can't even see. Like that's what I want. And that's what I want.
With our regular human eyeballs?
Yes.
Lame.
Fuck those eyeballs.
Yeah.
Right. I want to live in the color that we can smell, like all of it. And I think it's important to create space for that because one person's way of existing is not going to be the same as mine. But if I allow myself to be free with myself and present that, then I give permission for others to do it. And I will do the work that I need to help them be themselves when they show up for, a session, whatever they want, a friendship, anything. Yeah. And to me, that's queer.
Yeah. And I think that's great because the way you define it actually, so you identify as a queer man, that's using it as a noun, but you also talk about it in a sense of using it as a tool to do something, which is the adverb way, right? So let's go into when we're queering a space, we're changing a space, we're changing the normativity of it, we're changing the conventionalism of it to change how we look at things, to make it more of a spectrum. And so this is where we separate the word queer from sexuality, because we can be queering any type of space. And like you were saying, you're queering the idea of masculinity by saying, I like embracing my femininity in this way. And in a sense, I feel like I'm queering what an Indian woman is by having agency in my sexuality and being assertive with what I'm saying. And that is queering how we look at an Indian woman. That has nothing to do with my sexuality. It has to do with just who I am. And that has nothing to do with being gay or straight or anything. And so another example I think of when queering is there's a Black doctor that I follow on Instagram who really dives into the inequities in like the medical space when it comes to Black bodies. And he's really trying to contribute to research that elevates medical knowledge specifically when it comes to Black bodies. And so what he's doing is queering the medical space, essentially.
Yeah.
And so
he's doing important work.
Exactly. He's fulfilling that spectrum so we could see more of the color in those medical spaces. So like a bunch of Black women aren't dying when they're giving birth or all these things. And so I guess I just wanted us to take this opportunity because I really love the way you describe it in all senses of the word, noun, adverb, adjective. It's like you're doing, you're using, and all of those things don't have to be with homosexuality or anything sexually based.
Queer really does have, for me, the word queer, and when people identify as queer or within a queer space, and like, I have a friend, by all intents and purposes, heterosexual man.
Yeah.
He is, and I call him the biggest faggot I know. He is 100% a queer person.
Yeah.
Him and his wife are queer people. They just happen to be in a heterosexual relationship.
Yeah.
They both happen to identify with heterosexuality, but they are queer because they change all of that, right?
Yeah.
And there's something empowering about identifying in that queer space and queering.
It's not just about being gay. It's just looking and doing things differently.
Exactly. It's really examining the implicit messages that we're being told.
Yeah.
And then taking power and being like, I can exist alongside this, but that doesn't mean I have to give into it.
I can exist and resist.
Exactly. Exist and resist. I can do it my own way.
Like,
and I will.
I'm not married and I don't have a child. And that doesn't mean that you should feel sad for the path I'm going on because I'm existing, but I'm resisting the normative idea that we should be married and I should be dedicating my life to taking care of this man and this child. And for me, I'm so selfish. I don't know if I could do that. And I barely, it's like, and women make less money. Fuck
Women,
this.
yeah.
I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be an angry person.
Allow it. Anger is healthy. Anger creates change.
And you know what we said earlier, what I do with rage?
Yeah.
I fuck rage. You
fucking bite the dick off of the patriarchy. Right. You castrate the patriarchy.
And so we're queering the idea of what happiness can look like for a woman in regards to that family dynamic.
Yeah, right. No, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that I had noticed in like starting my career is that the fitness world is really not queer.
Okay.
Not at all. And the boxing, actually, I, have a little bit more leeway in the boxing world, I noticed, which was really interesting to me. But the fitness world is not. It really gives in to traits that are very, in my opinion, very toxic, whether it's toxic masculinity or patriarchal beauty standards of how women and men should look and all that stuff. And that's, I found really tough. It was really hard. I
found myself unfollowing some people on social media when they get to those levels with their body, because I don't want to base happiness and health on size like that.
I know some people want to work out and really like the way they look. Great. Like the way you look. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not what fitness is all about.
Yeah.
That happens, and that's okay. People are allowed to kind of choose their own motivations, but don't judge others based on it. And so much of fitness is like, oh, that person's a little overweight. Obviously, they need to lose weight. No, they're probably really healthy. Let them do what they need to do.
Or they have another condition, which this is the healthiest they've been because of that condition.
Exactly. And it's also like maybe they just had a kid or they have kids. Like they can't do all this stuff. There's other things. There's other things that are much more important than like having this six pack all the time, right? Or being, like especially something I saw with a lot of guys is needing to look like a superhero and like what I like to call acting out and trying to portray hypermasculinity.
Yeah.
So like taking steroids and doing all that stuff. And I was just like, okay. There's a study that came out recently that about 20%, 25% of gym goers are using steroids, which is a lot. And one of the things that I see in all of that is a lot of pressure. I mean, can you imagine living in a world where we have to sacrifice our health to be able to feel valid, to feel important, to feel like we are strong, whether it's physical or emotional, just to feel seen, just to feel important, and to make up anything that had hurt you in the past. And so what I see is just people that are really struggling, right? Yeah, it's a lot of pain.
And society is fucked up too, because I feel like society doesn't make it any better, easier.
Are you kidding me? Well, and so because
you see the benefits when they are.
My husband and I talk about this all the time. They're like, so one of the things that happens is like let's take, for example, disordered eating in women. Mm-hmm. At some point, the woman is gonna start losing weight. And, then
it feels good,
work at anorexia. And then instead of people saying, I'm concerned, what do they start saying? Oh, you look so good. Snatched, pretty, this and that. Instead of just having validated them where they were. And we live in a society where we are so wrapped up in the way people look. Like we care so much about the image and we place so much importance in someone being deemed as attractive. It's a thing that's important for us. And then with men, steroids, then all of a sudden you're bigger. And instead of people being like, you got crazy acne all over your body and you have this rage and what the fuck, your shoulders are the size of like a 7-year-old child. They're like, damn, you're so strong. Or like, oh, daddy, fuck me. Like they're just constantly validating it. And it sucks because it is destroying these people. It's destroying their lives. It's hurting them. It's, they're not going to be able to have boners like at the, like whatever little thing they're enlarging their organs. Like there's a reason why so many bodybuilders recently that were like huge, monstrously big are dying. You know, there's
Yeah.
in the gay community, there's so many men who are like 52 and have a heart attack. And you're like, oh, that hot muscle guy. You hear he was so hot and he had so many muscles. Yeah, that's what fucking killed him. Like what he was doing to get that. That's like, come on, you know?
And I think you bring up something valid here is like how we respond to people who have body changes. And I think, you know, like if we sit and think about this with how we comment on people's bodies, something that I've actively been trying to be conscious of is from, I guess, a feminine point of view. And when I notice people lose weight, I never want to say you look great because I don't want to connect losing weight to looking great. And so I always say, oh, wow, you've lost some weight. Is your intention right now, like, are you doing healthy things to like get there?
That's wonderful.
And,
yeah.
And if they're like, actually, yeah, I've been working out and doing something, then I'll be like, I'm so happy for you that the work that you're putting in to get somewhere is working for you. And sometimes for me, I had COVID last year for like 2 weeks. I lost like fucking 11 pounds and I went out and everyone's like, oh my God, you look so great. I was like, I was dying.
Yeah, you're
I was dying.
I was throwing up and had diarrhea.
And I
like,
gained that
sexy?
weight.
Okay.
I gained that weight fucking in a week back. And oh, now what? I look like shit.
Yeah.
Because losing weight doesn't always mean you're looking great.
Yeah, and that doesn't always mean the person's happy either, right? Like, or they're happy with the result. Because it could be for whatever reason. The same thing, like, and I hear it all the time. I see guys say it to each other, oh, man, you look really hot. Like, you're getting all this muscle. You're doing all this stuff. And I'm like, why can't you just tell them, like, hey, I see that you're working out a lot, and it seems like you are really enjoying it, and it seems like the the goal that you want, you're reaching.
Yeah.
So congratulations on the hard work you're putting in.
Exactly.
And like compliment something that the intention that they're doing. It's a much deeper thing than to just, you know, I feel like we kind of show ourselves, and as you know, I was born and raised in the United States. Like I grew up in this American culture where you know, the best compliment you can give someone is like, you're so pretty. Like, you're
let's
so hot.
queer
You're
compliments.
Let's queer it.
Next time I see someone who looks like their hair's thinning, I'm going to be like, wow, it looks like your hair thinned a little bit and it is looking fucking hot.
Right. Exactly.
Honestly,
looks like you don't got to deal with that anymore. And I know how stressful it was for you.
Yeah. Like you are looking just like joyous, like you're letting go of stress.
Yeah. As a queer man and living in like the gay world, it can be really challenging at times. I think I'd mentioned to you a long time ago, like men are so conditioned to be like visual consumers of everything. And so then you enter the world and you try to date and you try to hook up and you just try to make friends. And it's like, am I what I find attractive? Am I attractive enough to be considered a friend or fuckable or this or that? And then it just kind of becomes this grind of hurting yourself to try just to feel valid.
Because you don't fear of loneliness, because we elevate and glorify people who fit this idea. And so you strive to be that. Is this who I think would be hot? And then that shows like, I guess we all internally need to do some work where it's like.
And the thing is, like, it's all conditioning, right? Like it's all conditioning, and we are learned. We learn it, but we have to unlearn it, and that is an active practice. It's like, you know, it's like flexing a muscle. It's like training a movement pattern. It's like training something. You have to keep at it, because at times it's going to fall by the wayside, and then other times you're going to feel great. You got to do it, right?
I think it kind of the way to unlearn it is maybe find the sex. Here's the exercise, everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
If we're trying to unlearn toxic ways of observing people, let's find the sexy in every single person that crosses our sight.
100%.
And I think if we actively do that more and more, someone that you're just like, you know, you're walking down Lombard, and you see some crazy lady just cussing random people out, just, you know, the typical transient person we see in SF that may just be whatever. You find the sexy in that person.
You find it.
Okay.
And it could be, you know what? The way she says, fuck you, is so empowered.
Yeah.
I want that power.
That strength.
That strength is sexy.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're a human being, and all of a sudden they're not so intimidating, or they're not so different. They're not so other, right?
Yeah. Could you find the sexy in Trump?
All right, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna try.
Come on, we're unlearning, Pablo.
Okay, no, you're right. We are. You know what? I think someone who is
God, I can't even.
so confident in his convictions. And that's it. And by convictions, I mean what he's getting in trouble for and being sued for.
Confident, delusional.
Delusional. Sometimes we all need a little bit of delusion.
You know what? Damn right.
Yeah. I
need better levels of that delusion, because as a woman, if that delusion would help me advocate for myself more, and then I could be in better positions that I didn't even deserve. Not deserve because I'm a woman, but sometimes you're like, oh my God, I don't have the experience for that. And it's like, fuck it. Let me just be disillusioned.
Hey, I'm a trainer, and you just made me do an exercise. I'm going to make you do an exercise.
All right.
Find the sexy in Marjorie Taylor Greene. So I'm a trainer, and you made me do an exercise. So I'm going to put my trainer hat on. I'm going to make you do an exercise.
Okay.
Find the sexy in Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Okay. I love it. I love it when an actual trainer tells me to not do a movement thing. You're like,
right?
Can more trainers just ask me brain questions? Okay. What is sexy about her? Okay. I feel like what she just visually, okay. You know, I've seen her in tank tops or sleeveless.
Okay.
And I will say she has a strong shoulder, upper body situation. You know, I've seen her holding a gun.
Yeah.
With a rifle with a black
She
tank top,
looks
you know.
strong,
And I
yeah.
look past the perspective on gun laws, and I see the shoulders and the biceps, and I think good for her, you know. She needs a lot of strength holding that motherfucker. So
She needs a lot of strength.
There's the sexy is that upper
my
body.
God. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Holding up that QAnon.
There you go.
God.
Look
that
at
was
us
rough.
growing,
My God. I think,
applying what we said.
yeah, we're not hypocritical.
We're not.
Yep,
I love
we grow.
proving to people when I'm not a hypocrite.
Yes.
I'm like, you see that? You see that?
I saw, woo, yeah.
And I'm fucking humble.
Exactly. The most humble bitch. Remember that.
Okay, so one thing that you mentioned earlier, that you're part of Baloney.
Yes.
Which I don't know if you expanded yet on what Baloney is. So
Oh, yeah.
yes, tell us about Baloney.
I would love to. Baloney is San Francisco's premier gay all-male review. That's not all gay and not all male. We do have, like, you know, like my friend that was talking about the queerest straight guy you'll ever meet. He's in Baloney. We do have some women in Baloney.
I love that.
Yeah.
He's queering what straight men can be.
Him and the our Australian actor.
Okay.
They both are, so good for them. I love it. Yeah. So Baloney is essentially, I like to call it like Magic Mike meets Saturday Night Live. It's essentially like a strip show, but like it's all skits. It's mostly humorous. It is really a queer perspective, right?
Yeah.
So everything really draws of specifically like San Francisco. You know, there's a lot of stuff about, you know, hippies and the cat and the Haight-Ashbury or Folsom with leather,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like a lot of experiences. I created a number that I'm very proud of called the House of Baloney.
Okay.
And it was like a voguing number that I wanted, to just highlight the beauty of the black and brown experience in the queer culture and what black and brown queer individuals have introduced to the LGBTQ culture. So it's like a cute, silly, sexy voguing number with the black and brown members of the cast. It's awesome. And I highly recommend everyone go watch a Baloney show. You know, they scouted me, I guess, through social media because of my boxing and all that stuff. And, you know, a little bit of like voguing and being like a fucking weird, like, on my social media, I was like a clown fucking adult baby into the devil boxing, and
they're like, we
voguing,
need this.
and they were like, what the fuck is this guy? So they got me on, and
clown fucking devil
it
baby.
Well, it happened because
the
I
name
was
of your first single.
Exactly. Yes, I was actually buying diapers because I wanted to wear diapers at a party, and they were like the guy.
You were ready to get fucked up.
I was ready. Yeah, I mean, like I had like a whole bottle filled just whiskey, and I had 2 of those. And like I remember getting someone yelled at me because I went to the bathroom to pee, and they were like, "Then why are you wearing a diaper?"
Use it.
Yeah, I was
use your diaper.
I was like, this diaper is for visualization only, and I'm allowed to do that.
I'm not here for your fucking kink,
exactly.
all right? I'm not using this diaper.
Right, I just want to wear one. And
so let's let people know about a little behavior here in case people do want to attend.
Okay,
like,
you want to know?
What is a way that you're like, don't fucking act like that?
Yeah, okay. If you want to touch, so don't put your hand inside the underwear and grab the dick or put your finger in a hole. Don't do that. People do that and like don't give you money. Like you better make it worth my while. Like you better pay up.
That takes us to our final question.
Okay.
Which is I ask everyone because I think it's good to, as we have different people getting to know each other and different ways to connect with people. So how can anyone, a lover, a friend, a partner, a new person you meet, how can someone love you better?
So for me, I think being open with me makes me feel like I'm given an opportunity to be close to you, and that makes me feel loved. I really like that. Yeah. That's it. Just be open with me. If something bothers you, please tell me. If something you have an emotion, you just want to let it out. If you're not, people don't need to be vulnerable. That's up to them, right? They will get vulnerable when they want to be vulnerable. But yeah, just be upfront. Like I can be pretty patient and give me the opportunity to love you. That's how I feel loved. If you give me the opportunity to love you by opening up.
I love that answer because right when you're saying, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to be friends. That's exactly. I love giving people the space to be vulnerable, to share. And that is closeness for me. Like when I feel like we feel comfortable and safe with being open and not feeling like we have to have walls or barriers. And I just love openness, and I love being able to let me know if I hurt you or something, because that lets me grow. Mm-hmm. And so I love being blessed with an opportunity to grow in those ways, but also it makes me feel that you value me enough to allow yourself to be vulnerable. And so being the narcissist that I am, I love when I feel valuable to someone.
Exactly. Because I know I'm valuable.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, are you going to cry? I feel so good right now about our friendship. Go ahead and cry. I'm going to listen to you and touch your arm.
Ow.
Yes.
I know. I love it.
And I even might cry sometimes with them because, I feel and I love the space that we're in, and that makes me feel good.
Exactly.
So sometimes that might even add to the teariness, because I'm like, I'm so glad that we're having this connectivity right now.
Exactly.
Isn't it beautiful?
100%. Exactly. I love it. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Oh, we're ending on such a warm note.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I really had a good time talking about everything we talked about. That was really fun and enlightening.
Oh, no. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for letting me talk to you and you talking back.
Oh my gosh, thank you for talking to me.
No, this was really fun, and I really appreciate it. And honestly, like with your podcast, I think the things that you're doing and having these conversations and putting it out into the world and all these wonderful perspectives, I think is really important. Like the world needs a lot of conversations, especially right now. Conversations are important.
Thank you. That makes me feel really good.